That is that's a good one. Oh, wrong button. Here we go. I remember
Harris
filming
was
that
ready
one.
to burn that house down, buddy.
I remember filming that one, and it was awesome. Obviously, we do not condone any fake gas. What you call that? Gaslighting? Probably not. Gas threats.
No
So,
Molotovs.
so the reason I had the idea for this video is when I was working in the health insurance business about 20 years ago, maybe not quite 20 years ago. I was only there for about 6 months. But I remember a guy, my manager, telling me a story about a guy that actually did that. It wasn't in the insurance business. He was in the furniture, kind of those rent all furniture companies, and he was in the repo business. So his job was to go out and if you couldn't pay your rental fees for the couch that you were paying off, then they come and they'd get the couch. Similar to the way what we've seen, Brian, you go to a house, you knock on a door, you kind of see the thing pop up, and somebody's in there, but they're trying to not be in there. So this guy actually did what Ayers was joking about doing. He went around, saw a gas can, and acted like he was going to burn the house down, which is just the stupidest thing you could ever do. Obviously, the guy goes to jail. He loses everything. It wasn't even his couch he was trying to get back. That's the crazy thing, man. It was like, Fred's rent-all couch he was trying to get back. So
seems extreme.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, like, there's always a story behind the story. That's what we need to do, like a pop-up video of our commercials. Pop-up video. All right. Let me share my screen here. Let's see. Gotta exit out of a few things here, which probably I should have done. There we go. I think, Mr. Spivey, that this is the right one, hopefully.
Nice.
We'll see. Top 10 new writers for the week. Mr. Zirkle, welcome aboard. Cynthia Bailey. And Robert Hoffman. $15,000 is a very round number.
Hello.
Very round number to do for your first week out. I think we might see Mr. Hoffman's name again here soon. We'll see. Top producers for the week. Brett Loftus, Debbie and Adam Jr., and where in the world is Carmen Semeniego, Spivey? He's at the top.
He's on top of the leaderboards.
That's where he is. $24,000 in premium. Way to go, Carlos. Nicely done. Debbie and Adam, 19. Harry Zipkin, 19. And look at all these applications. James Satterfield, 23. Misty Hutton, 27 applications. If Misty
Somebody's got the Symmetry Open on their mind, Miss Misty.
I know. Miss Misty Hutton is about to show everybody what's up, it looks like.
Scott Forehand's out there taking notes.
Oh. Could that be considered trash talking if you really don't have a dog in the hunt? I don't think it's trash talking as much as it's like just getting them going.
Just
right?
A little elbow, a little flying elbow.
Just a little flying elbow. I like that. Way to go, Douglas Drake. 2 Medicare SUP apps. Nicely done. Disability income producers. I was curious about this one, Doug. Kenneth Lewis Crawl doesn't go by Kenneth or Lewis, but he goes by Ken. So I'm just wondering why it's all the way spelled out there. Although Lewis is a great.
We just like to be real formal sometimes.
That's true.
It's real fancy.
I like that.
Let's step it up.
Patricia.
Or maybe he's in trouble.
Well done.
Now I'm picturing Kenneth over there wearing a bow tie to the national call.
I bet he is. I hope he is anyway. If you are, Ken, shoot me an email or something. I want to see that. Brooke Fleming, number 1 on the DI board, $3,080 for an app. Not too shabby. IUL producers, Mr. Brenez, Mr. Gonzalez, and the cowboy himself with $8,400 in IUL production. Way to go, Colby. Nice job. Cheryl Evans with a $200,000 annuity. Blaine Jones, Stephen Jones, $223,823. And did I tell you we were going to see Mr. Hoffman again? $2.2 million.
Nailed it.
And that's how you end up on the first time right. Is this a record for a first time writer to ever end up on the board? It's got to be. I mean, obviously it's a record for the first annuity ever written as a first time writer. I have a feeling Mr. Hoffman, this ain't his first annuity rodeo. But Todd, you had a pretty interesting story about how this went down.
Yeah. total teamwork. Mr. Hoffman came in looking to light the world on fire. Had a great client that was in need of annuity. Actually partnered up with our corporate sales team, and Mr. Sabala and Mr. Jensen kind of helped guide this one through. Because, and as you can imagine, if your first annuity is a $2 million annuity, you might want to have a little helping hand.
That's right. Way to go.
Awesome job, Robert.
Yeah, man. Oh, Bobby H on the boards already. I have a feeling he's going to be back. We'll see. DFL producers, no slowdown here. Julia Mullins, Kathleen Baldini, and Betsy Barr, $10,000 and $10,221, I should say. Well done, DFLers. When's our next DFL workshop boot camp?
Next week, next Thursday and Friday, sold out again.
Uh-oh. Some of you guys are just late to the game. Sorry. You have to get to the next one.
This is the last, next week will be the last, that will be twice a month. We'll be moving to once a month, but we'll keep everybody posted, watching attendance, making sure that we keep enough available spots for everyone.
Like it. Total recruits. This is all recruits in the base shop. Jacob Pogue. Look at Kevin Purdy, for the love of Purdy. 42 total recruits. And can I just also say that Kevin Purdy was not even in the country last week?
I was just thinking the same thing. He was getting tan.
He was over there tanning himself. Then I got to hang out with him at the Delaney wedding. They were looking good. He didn't tell me they got 42 recruits. Well done. I mean, Chris Cook and Pogue and Pritchett, those are great numbers too. Just saying. 42. Licensed recruits, 3-way tie. Really, could you say 4-way tie, since Matt and Brad do count as they're actually 2 people?
Well, they would get 1.5 recruits each then.
Okay, just 1.5 recruits among them. Kevin Purdy, number 1 on the directs board. Good weeks also by Mank and Pritchett. New writers, Capistrano. That's what I like to see, old buddy. Welcome to it, Chris.
Actually, saw on social media, the coach was out live and about, running live appointments, doing some training of some new agents. So
nice.
Leading from the front, leading from example. Love it.
I like it. Well done, Tony Capistrano. Seasoned new agents. There's a whole bunch of them. This part always makes me a little nervous. I'm not going to lie. If I mispronounce your name, it's only because I'm an idiot. Okay. So I apologize. Angelo Savarino, Chance Petrie, Janine King, Jamal Warren, John Semilak, Jose Carrillo, Louis Hernandez, Luke Dillahunt, Manuel Betancourt. Don't bet in court. It's not a good idea. Maciel Pino, Pamela Carter-Taylor, Patricia Rodriguez, and Russell Miller. All right. Brian Williamson, you were very good at name pronunciation. How did I do? How would you score my delivery?
Outstanding. I think you even auto-corrected on the way. I think it's a 10 out of 10.
And that's going to give me a lot of
That's going to lead to a big head there, Brian.
Oh, no, that's generous, Brian. You got to keep them.
We're going to hear about this for weeks.
7 out of 10.
I mean, when you give options for correction, you know, that's like bonus round points. So that was outstanding.
It's called covering your bases. That's what that's All right. Well done, all you SNAs. Well done. Vlad the Hammer Stefanovic, followed by Lori Aspenson, $28,000. Well done, Lori. Agency owners, Newbauer, Valor, and Jeremy Whitaker. Another big week for you, Whitaker. Good job, buddy. Agency directors, this might be, rumor has it, the last time we see Griff Martin on this board. A little sad about that. Larry and Ann Griffin, $140,000. Well done. Regional agency directors. There he is, the godfather himself, as you were just saying. Eileen Balmer took care of business this week, though. $137,000, $136,000, we'll say. I get accused of rounding up too much, so that time I rounded down. And Eileen's probably like, what the heck? You round down on... It's not nice. Marvelous Marlon Faulkner, Darren Stubbs with a $100,000 week. Well done. Kyle and Lisa Kimbrell, $224,000. Good week by Jimmy Spilton as well, $140,000. Executive vice presidents, this number is growing too. Look at Ryan Miller. Good grief. $400,651. I mean, Matt and Brad Smith with a monster week. Lynn Watkins, 563,809. Senior partners, Delaney got married, still had a good week. Danny Young, I think Danny Young has been married now for 52 years, would be my guess. I think I remember him celebrating his 50th not long ago, right?
I can confirm this. He went to Ruth Chris to celebrate.
That is a promise.
Mm-hmm.
That is a promise.
Mm-hmm.
Just shy of $1 million for Mr. Pritchett, $997,313. Edging out Mr. Marshall Whalen this week, who had $908,937. So good week, everybody. This conference boost has officially happened. It always happens a little later than we think, but it has officially happened. We are on average, I would say, about $300,000 to $400,000 a month above where we were on average. And obviously we peaked at over $1 million more than where we were on average before that. So well done, everybody that promoted conference. Well done. The top direct might be the last time Mr. Purdy is on this board for a little while. He's going to lose one to become his own direct, which means that, you know, that's what happens. You go down, then you got to come back up, down. It's the best way of losing production that you could possibly ever have, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal, Kevin Purdy. Well done, though, buddy. $290,000. In base shops, my favorite board, as we were just talking about, I should say, the king of base shop building, Mr. Edward Pritchett, $65,238. He says that he will be, he's touched 100,000, come very close to 100,000 a week. He's going to consistently be at $100,000 in the base this year. Do you understand how, first, on top of having $1 million organization a week, what an accomplishment that would be to continue to build a base shop that is that big, and how profitable it is. Congratulations, everybody that made the leaderboards. And here we go. Our first round of the Symmetry Open. Spivey, are you nervous?
A little nervous.
Top 500. We're only showing the top 20. Don't forget, top 500 move through. So we're good there. Okay. Top 3 were Mason Van Meter, Christopher Leak, Scott Forehand. I think that elbow you were giving Scott a minute ago, he's ready to give it right back to you. Well done. So this means this week through the end of business, what is that? Midnight Friday is the top 500. That's who's competing right now. Next week will be the top 250 that move forward. What's at stake? In case you've been under a rock or on vacation or just asleep and not paying attention, there is a Four Seasons trip for the overall winner, or they can choose a Steamboat Colorado trip. They get to pick either one they want. Then the top direct gets to pick the next one. And how's that shaking out? A lot of people up, man. So here's the way that the directs work. Don't forget, we took a 6-week period, took an average, and then we took a look at, the next 6-week contest. The winner in this pool is going to be who has the most growth over that previous 6-week period. Matt and Brad Smith in the hunt. Robert Puckett with 105% growth. Puckett.
Go, buddy.
Puckett. Go, baby. I like what I'm seeing out of you, Puckett. Well done. Oh, promotions this month, too. These are all top producers. Hannah Grace, Karen Young, Kimberly Ann Ruiz, Harrison Zipkin, Davian Clark, and Jeffrey David Maldener. Well done. Only one elite producer, though. Sean Pierce, under Gary the Bender. Been on a bender, I mean. Things like Sean Pierce has been on a production bender. Well done. Team leaders, Barbara Anson, Bryant Mitchell, Christopher Lee Smith, Christina Lopez, James Slingo. Give you one guess as to who James Slingo's direct to. Jeanette Knowlton Horn, Jennifer White Lee, Julia Mullins, Julie Olson, Leslie Phillips, Logan Dean Mitchell, Reem Masai, Tiffany Cannell, Trent Man, these got really harder as the list went on. I think this was intentional.
Joe
Started-
Brock.
I was coming back for you. You know, I'm like, this is getting really bad now.
It was getting hard. Trent DeBrock and Rich Simone. I'm not expecting a 10, I know, but I did give it. I mean, for effort, I think I gave it a 10.
It's a valiant effort.
Amy Anderson, Brian Rooney, Debbie Nadam Jr. These are for key leaders. Well done, guys. Gabrielle and Ike Manello. Nice team there. Kevin Farrell, Michael Lee Hale, and Taylor Thompson. Look at all these agency owners. We're going to be doing some hobnobbing pretty soon. I have a feeling. Greg and Leanne Hassman, Jason Pogue. Any question which family that guy comes from? Got some strong genes in there. Justin Elliott, Gloria Spenson, Nikki Basham, Ryan Miner, Sarah Reinecke, and Val Zarn. Val Zarn was the name of the year winner 2 years in a row a few years ago. So it's good to see him really getting the most out of that name. Like it. A couple of rads, Esther Carlson and Griff Martin. Congratulations, guys. A couple new associate partners, Kevin Purdy and Ryan and Michelle Miller. Well done. Brad and Kira Gainey, they're on deck to become the next directs. And 3 new directs. Darren Stubbs, Melissa Weigel, Scott Summers.
Big time. Man, that's incredible.
That's
Bravo.
awesome.
Have we ever had 3 break out in 1 month, Brandon?
I don't think so. I'm
Yeah?
going to say no.
Man,
Well
that's
done.
phenomenal.
So
I've been
much
working
hard
really
work.
close with these 3 individuals through the last couple of months as the whole team, whole Omaha office has. And it's been a pleasurable run, and just congratulations on all the hard work. I know Melissa's down there. I think she's celebrating in Cabo right now.
Good. Nice, Melissa. We just say that, take some time, celebrate what you've done. This is a huge accomplishment. Same thing for becoming an elite producer or a top producer, whatever the next level is that you're trying to get to. Our brains work in a way that we always want the next thing before we even get to the thing that we wanted. That's just the way it will always work. So you have to take a minute, celebrate the victories, and then get back on it, but celebrate all the hard work, Darren Stubbs, that went into becoming a direct. Now, who can you get there to change their lives, right? Same, Melissa, Scott Summers. I mean, that's a lot of hard work and just really, really exciting.
Darren was so funny, Brandon. He called me, we let the news out a little early that he had qualified, took a little pressure off before the call, and he took himself out shopping, and he introduced me to a new store that he turned me on to called Buckle. A lot of great stuff. So it was great to see Darren out there celebrating, spend a little time.
Nice. He deserved it. Which makes a couple of new equity partners, Tony Capistrano, Kashawn Monteith, Kevin Purdy. Kashawn's already texted me. We've done something wrong. Don't text me when we do something wrong. Text somebody else. Kashawn, you know the drill. Text me when we do something right. I think we messed up maybe a level of leadership. I'm going to say that is Brian's the newest one to the corporate team. We'll blame it on Brian Williamson. That was totally Brian's fault. He was supposed to be on top of that.
Yep.
Congratulations, Tony Capistrano, Kashawn Monteith, and Kevin Purdy. It's one thing to become a direct. For those of you that are new, what does this mean? One thing to become a direct. It's another thing to produce a direct. And that is the name of the game. So congratulations, Capistrano for Stubbs, Kashawn for Melissa, Kevin for Scott. We're kind of in the life-changing business, guys, and you guys are doing a good job of that. So congratulations to you. What does one share of the equity bonus typically equate to these days, Doug? $15,000 to $20,000, roughly. That's
a little bit north of there right now, as we're having, as you mentioned, multiple record-breaking months in a row for submit and net placed volume. So
yes.
All of that is a percentage allocated to the equity portion. So more people are getting shares and the pool keeps getting bigger and bigger. So yeah, right in that $20,000 lane. But then you get that 120 bonus too.
Oh yeah, don't forget about your 120 bonus. You got the equity bonus. You got all these other bonuses. Because Sean, that's a Tony and Kevin, all that have been in that producers capital bonus world. That's a big jump. Congratulations to you guys. And I would like for everybody that's listening in today to just kind of think for a second, how would your life be different if you got to the point where you're making not $60,000 a month, but $60,000 or $70,000, or not $60,000 or $70,000 a year, but $60,000 or $70,000 a month. And many, if not all of these guys are doing much better than that. So hard work pays off. Connection pays off. Communication pays off. Well done. This is a teaser that we're not going to spend a lot of time on because it deserves a lot more than a teaser, Doug Zay. The new and improved Quility U will be available right around the corner, June 1st. It's going to have a new revamped fast track. So get in there. Just simply navigate to the training section in HQ after June 1st or on June 1st for the single sign-on. And there's going to be a lot more courses to be added. Again, we don't want to talk too much about it because it's going to be good. I'm going to announce these upcoming events, and I know you guys have a few more announcements that you want to hit that are extremely important. Carrier webinar tomorrow, hosted by Columbus Life, same time every time, 11 o'clock Eastern. Also, the Ultimate in FE training, hosted by Mr. Gary Keith, tomorrow at 11. The Todd Talk, Friday, 21st. What you talking about, Mr. Spivey? You got Palmer on. Ooh, that's going to be a good one. The future is now.
I was trying to go for a little back to the future theme of where we're going. We won't need roads.
That is true.
But, we spend a lot of time on Todd Talk, especially talking to the newer agents that are wanting to learn and get off to a fast start at their new career here. So it's a great opportunity, even if you're a tenured agent, join Friday. And we'll be talking about some of the technology and some of the opportunity on the table for Quility in the next 2 to 3 years. But specifically, what does that mean for new agents that are finding a new home with us now, and how we're going to be able to make them more successful in their insurance career?
Yep. Good teaser, buddy. It's going to be a good one. Of course, we have our Monday sales training call with Carlton Lear, joined by Christy Miller, Jordan Howell, and Holly Jacobs. Your most valuable secret skill set. Ooh, I like the title. It's going to be good. And then Tuesday next week, Debt-Free Living, every Tuesday at 11 o'clock Eastern, hosted by Mr. Mike Resma, ball of energy he is. You do not want to miss that. If you're a DFL writer, you need to be on that call every single week. You won't regret it, picking up new tips and secrets. Doug or Todd, I think there are a lot more announcements that you guys wanted to hit, or a few more announcements, I should say, not a lot.
Yeah, just for a quick reminder for everybody that the Fng Contest still going on. It actually runs through May 31st with their IUL products. They're also doing that special feature where it's a $50 gift card. If you do not get your business with a decision within 7 days. So keep your foot on the gas with Fng and IULs. It's an opportunity to win a long weekend trip to Asheville. Come up to the Omni Grove, play a little golf, maybe a nice little dinner with a few folks in the home office. So keep pushing out there for that contest. Wraps up May 31st. And then, Doug, I'll let you talk about the switch this weekend on the old email system.
Big things coming. Yeah, we're excited. A lot of great system upgrades and updates, but one of the main ones is the SFG Life emails will no longer be a thing as of this coming weekend. So we will have, we mentioned earlier, we'll have information going out to our agency owners and directs with email, but that is not our preferred form of communication. And in fact, a couple things are happening. The email is switching, but also Simply SFG, which was the backside login of the SFG website, is also going by the wayside. So how do you interact with us in the home office? Well, there's a great feature on HQ under the support tab, which is a ticketing system. So this is all monitored and tracked internally, which allows us to ensure that we are providing the best support and communication back to you. So all questions, number one, should go to your upline first. Make sure you leverage the resources available to you out there and get those questions answered. But if you do need us, as happens from time to time, please use that ticketing support system in order to reach out to us or talk to your upline agency owner and they will have access to make connections otherwise. So that's all happening over the weekend. So if you do email one of those, it will forward into the correct email for this current time, and also give you that current email address. But that's not going to be, as I mentioned, our preferred form of communication moving forward. And so if you haven't been there, go on to HQ, click the support tab, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Also, most likely, 99.9% of your questions can be answered by the massive library of frequently asked questions, forms, and support that we have built out in there. So make sure you check there first, because oftentimes you're going to find the answer to whatever question you have, and allow folks to stay focused on what they're doing internally. So that's what we got.
Man, we're excited about that, Doug. We appreciate you and everybody on the tech side that really worked hard on that support system in HQ, guys. That's going to be a game changer. That's going to really allow us to knock down some redundant processes that we've had in place in the past, and really streamline our communication and make sure that we're tracking our responses and getting everything that needs to be taken care of. So, Doug, you put a lot of hard work into that, buddy, and I really appreciate that.
Well, I'll take your accolades, but they don't belong to me. They belong to all those wonderful folks out there running those departments and creating the excellent support that exists out there. So I'm looking at it right now. Go check it out. Let us know if you have any questions. You can submit a ticket.
So in lieu of an agent spotlight or a Thrive segment, what I really wanted to do today is bring on my good buddy, Mr. Mark Palmer, always dressed for the occasion, making me look bad in my camo hat over here, Palmer. We've gotten some questions about ears, when people will be notified of ears. And I thought, let's not just stop at when they can expect them, but let's kind of give some updates on what's been going on behind the scenes and what you've been seeing. And maybe you can start with the ears scenario and what people can expect. So, Bud, Deal a Day Palmer, as you're called around here. Nice to have you, buddy.
Hi. Hello to everybody out there. 1.5K, 1,500 people. On the ears first, apologies, it's not done yet, but there are reasons why. One important reason is we ran a recent promotion, right, where we had double ears credit in April. So we had to feed that in. That's sort of the bit part. I mean, it's actually a really complicated process, Brandon. As you know, first for everybody, right, ears are gift grants, right? They're gifts from the company to the agent pool. As we explained, we look back on the prior year. We kind of see what really helped advance the business and drive growth and value. And then based upon that, we just make a determination, we do the grants. So they can't be earned or claimed, they're just granted. But there's a little bit of science in figuring it out. And we decided this time to look at multiple factors because the business has gotten more complicated. The production is higher. But we also did things like factored in extra credit for November and December. We factored in extra credit for base shot production because we viewed that as really valuable for the future. We factored in extra credit for new writers. We factored in extra credit for AOs that are minted. So if you have AO breakouts, we considered these things. And I guess once you put all that together, it becomes a wonderfully complicated formula with a lot of variables. And then, as you know, we have to sort of layer it out across. And the general policy has been to sort of, try to target the top half of the AOs in the pool. And we have more of them, every year, which is great. And also, we really were trying to, reward, personal producers, people who really produce more than about $200,000 in that place last year. So we have to put all that in the engines and run all the calculations. Now I have to layer in, obviously, April, and then we spit it out. But, I'll say this, this will be done very soon, right? I mean, the calculation should be done this month. We're waiting on a valuation hurdle, and that's been delayed for many reasons, but, we'll get that valuation hurdle, and it'll be higher, much higher, frankly, than it was last year. just because the business has really done extraordinarily well. Thanks to all of you. And then we'll be able to get it out. So I think people, Brandon, should be able to get notice of this, just on the turn of the month. And, because we still have to do some conversations about how all the numbers actually shake out, right? We also built in a little, just equitable principles in this to make sure we're just not stacking them up on everybody, that the same people aren't just sort of stacking up, right? But we're kind of keeping people in the pool and like trying to spread the wealth literally in this. I'll say this, like we're looking probably to grant around 7 million units. And just by order of magnitude, so people get it, like why this can be complicated, those 7 million units, now we used illustrative values based upon market comps and discounting where we think our projections will be. And we really brought it down, right? We brought it down and we said, if we discount everything and half everything and sort of look at it very conservatively, last year we were sort of evaluating these on $1 billion illustrative value. I think because we've done really well, we'll probably be evaluating them on about a 1.67 this year. But when you look at this, the aggregate illustrative value, and it's illustrative, it's not like you can go spend these at the grocery store yet. The illustrative value for this year's grants will probably be about $50 million. So we're literally gifting 50 million in equity. And if you look at the ones we did last year, they were initially at 40. Now they're probably on the same basis, about 64. So, that's why it's such a disciplined and targeted endeavor, because we're literally gifting $110 million worth of equity in 2 years.
Pretty awesome, buddy. Questions would be, I'm new here. I saw this question pop up. I'm new. Can new agents still earn equity appreciation rights? Absolutely. How many grants are we planning on there actually being, Mark?
I'm gonna round it out, like excluding employees, just agents only. Probably be about 200 people.
Say it again. I think you cut out on me there.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, excluding employees, just agents only. It's probably going to be about 200 people.
Okay. And then we had a 2019 grant for 20. So the answer to that is yes. Even if you're new this year, there will be more opportunities moving forward. And I would also like to point out, because I think it's a great point, that everything that we're doing behind the scenes, everything that we're trying to build will lead to an event. The event is a step along the way. It's not the thing that we're striving to do. What we're actually building is going to make everybody, potentially everybody on this call, and all the people that you're recruiting for years to come, so much more money because of the processes that we're putting in place, the technology that we're building, the leads that we're creating, the products that we're developing. There's so many different things, Mark, that everyone will have access to. And, since everyone knows we're in the middle of a capital raise, so that we can expedite a lot of these things, a significant capital raise. But Mark, I thought it would be good for you to talk for a second about, and Doug, feel free to jump in as well. What have you been hearing from the market? Now that a lot of people have had an opportunity to kind of take a look under the hood and see who we are, and there's still more of that obviously to come. Mark, what are you most excited about? What are they most excited about?
That's a great question. As you pointed, I'm in touch with people in the capital markets right now every day. It's too much actually, like at least half the day every day. What are they most excited about, and where do they see it differentiated? I think I'll step through it. Right. I think number one, very excited about the field growth that we have. Right, adding new agents and new applications, and just getting more product out into clients' hands. Why? Right. It really shows the value of the franchise model. I think they've observed we're probably the most profitable model out there, and we just function differently. And that's really valuable, right? Like we operate under a single flag, right? We're under equality and symmetry. We're not a roll up. Our people, are not tapping out, they're tapping into the future, right? And they see that, they make more money. I don't think any of our AOs would be interested in trying to sell out at like 3 times their override or anything foolish like that. Honestly, kind of silly, right? Why? Because they think they can grow their business at least 20% a year here versus tapping out So in 3 years, they'll earn that money back and they'll have something twice as large. So why would you do that, right? Unless you just don't believe in yourself or the systems of the future. So people really like the commitment, the growth, and the way that we've sort of franchised the model and what's going on. They love the corporate cross-sell engines that we put in place because we really mean it. We're really getting long-term value out of the clients. People said this was almost impossible, right? And we went from 0 to 2,000 or 3,000 records, right, being processed a week, right, on an in-force book. We compensate everybody. There's passive income. So we're building long-term value for the client. We thought it through. We're building long-term value for our agents because we're creating more passive income streams, right? So everybody wins. Nobody else is doing it like that. And we kind of nailed it. Very focused on the lead transformation that's taken place. And Doug, congratulations on that. I mean, going from weekly to daily allocations to taking digi leads and really ramping them up. And digital leads are the future, right? Mortgage market's only so big, mail-in is only so much, right? We have to diversify lead pools, and we are, yep. Right? But going to daily and every 30-minute allocations and turning this from almost like a chore into a real marketplace where we're selling value, they see it. They see the value of the leads, right? If you calculate it, these leads are returning 4 to 8 times cash on cash within 30 days to the buyer. You buy a lead, the average good closer is going to make 4 to 8 times the cost of that lead within 30 days, cash on cash. So, they love that, right? Because it delivers value, and owning the lead pool is really a key ingredient to owning the ecosystem and fueling innovation and growth. And they love the product dev and product deployments that we're doing. DFL, the way that that's actually ramped up with the boot camps and the training and the certification, and then how it's been downstreamed and rolled out in a very orderly fashion. Love it. We're doing new product design work. People don't even know about it yet, like, as we're seeking to design our own proprietary products and roll them out. This is how you own the future, right? Being able to downstream new products and own it. So, people love that. It proves that we're different than other people. But Brandon, frankly, those are all wonderful things. And these are all factored into the model. What really gets people jacked is that the way that we're put together, right? Because we really have a unity of client ownership and agent involvement and carrier ownership and lead control, right? What they love is that we can tie all this together in a very data-based, technologically enabled, unified platform, right? Not just automating, how you do X or how you do Y, but automating the alphabet, all the vowels and all the consonants. So you can have all the words and all the sentences, right? And they love that because that's the thing. That's the thing, right? That's not the thing like what I was just talking about, right? The field and sales and product, right? That's going to drive massive value, massive growth over the next 3 years. But what we're doing with it, spending inordinate amounts of money and budgeting inordinately more, on tech builds and rollouts, that's going to drive explosive growth, not just for the next 3 years, but really through the decade. So everybody on this call and the next 2,000 people that are on the next several calls for the next several months and for the next several years will be able to participate in that. And it gets me going. It gets me going. And everybody I'm talking to, they're all over it.
Well, and I think the only thing I could add to that is, we've gone through this process of preparing for the capital raise internally and just seeing the culmination and what is a masterfully crafted 70-slide deck, to be shared out there. It's just a great representation and celebration, for every single person on this call that has brought value into this, for the home office. I mean, it is truly that combination of coordinated effort that's going on, and it's across 3 divisions, and it's internal and external to the company, and it's awesome to see. And it's exciting, and I don't think you can help but get both fired up and a little teary-eyed when you're just see the dedication and effort that's gone into creating this. So you forgot to mention Brandon's charm and Casey's boyish good looks, which are clearly at the top of the list.
That's right.
For these investors.
Yeah, yes. You got to sandbag a little bit, right?
That's right. Well, appreciate both of you guys. I think we're going to be showing to the agency owners, maybe the directs here in the coming weeks, exactly, Doug, what you were talking about, just to really offer some clarity around what's coming. Give a little little glimpse of the future. But I will say that all of you are in really good hands with Mr. Mark Palmer talking to the capital markets, because as I said earlier, you are deal a day Palmer, and there have been a lot of deals,
the big one,
a lot of deals that you've been striking. So DFL software,
and it's well, I mean, just
a lot of acquisitions. I did want to say, I did want one more question that you mentioned, Mark, and I want to reiterate this. You know, there are people in our space. I would say that the vast majority of people in our space have already been acquired. You know, obviously we've over the years had those opportunities. Never have been interested in a roll-up strategy. And even worse, you talked about it, but maybe I want to reiterate so that people really understand what's going on out there. We're creating a business where people can go out, agency owners can go out and double and triple their businesses within a year. And so some of these roll-up strategies are just, forgive me, but it's like bonehead play of the day for some of these companies out there when they're getting single-digit multiples, when they could actually grow their businesses single digits in a year or two, and then they're rolled up, as you said, under 50 or 60 flags. What are we trying to accomplish here that is so much better than that? If you could sum it up one more time, Mark.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I mean, we're very unique and very special. People view us that way. We are not a roll-up. We never will be a roll-up, because we're organized under a single unified flag, a single franchise, a single set of principles, ideals, business practices, lead systems, agent training systems, et cetera, right? You can't really have a roll-up strategy with a brand and a culture that's strong. It doesn't work. And people really value us for that. So we're more of, I like to call it kind of like a roll-in strategy, right? And we're not asking people to trade out, right? As you say, like when you're selling your business for 3 or 4 times your last year's override, that's capitalizing on your fear, right? They're trying to get you to tap out, right? They're trying to run the table on you. Why would you do that if you're going to double your business in a couple of years? You're going to earn all the money anyway, and you're still going to have something 2 or 3 times larger, right? So we capitalize more on people's hopes and aspirations and try to deliver on that. It kind of goes hand in hand with the builder culture. We're builders, and we keep people paid passively in the system, and other people don't do it. So they get afraid, right? And they tap out. And that really limits your growth opportunities. So we're not a roll up, we're not a tap out, we're a roll in, we're a tap in. And it's fundamentally different business. And, you know, we're not a 50 flag confederacy. We're a single flag union, right? With a sort of manifest destiny mission, you know, which we've kind of accomplished. We're national, right? Single flag across the entire country, unified group.
Love it. So for people, Mark, that don't know what a roll-up strategy is, basically what that means is a lot of people that have been in our market have been rolled up into a bigger organization that is basically just going around and plucking IMOs and distribution to try to put them all under the same group. However, as Mark is saying, they're all still trying to operate under 50 brands and 50 flags. And it just seems extremely short-sighted. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
We have a lot more to
just
accomplish than that.
Representation of, you know, short-term gain versus long-term value. And I know Mark won't toot his own horn too much on here, so I'll toot it for him a little bit. You know, we say what's differentiating in strategy and execution, right? I mean, those are the keys to the growth and what we're trying to achieve here. And, you know, Mark has come in with this vision and this strategy, along with Brandon, Casey, and Brian, to drive this and to make these decisions. And I get to witness, you know, firsthand types of decisions they make, the types of decisions that are about the benefit and the security for the masses, and these opportunities that and I think you said it best, Brandon, on a call a while ago, which is, you know, if you're going to ask who we're going to bet on, we're going to bet on ourselves, and we're not going to bet on one of these other companies who's going to say, oh, we've got this, we're going to take care of this for you. So it's held true this entire time. I think the strategy is on point, and, you know, the execution occurring at massive levels behind the scenes to bring all of this to life. And it's just the perfect storm that has brought us here, but very grateful for you, Mark, and what you brought to the table, and how you've solidified and congealed, the vision, and this boat is moving fast, and we are all rowing real strongly in the same direction right now. It's exciting, and very grateful.
Yep. Very exciting. A lot more to come. We'll try to be as transparent with everything going on as we can, because we know we get a lot of questions about it, and rightfully so, because this is not just our business. This is your business. It's all of your businesses. So big things coming. Mark, thank you, buddy. Doug, appreciate you. Christopher, there was a lot to cover, and I was hoping to cover it faster, but I don't know that there was really a way to cover it. Well, there's always a way to cover it faster, especially if I'm the one doing the talking. But we are now to you, my friend, and excited about you, about your team coming on. I want to just hit some numbers for you real quick.
Yes, sir.
February, you did $220,000 in premium, $220,712. March, you did $264,000. April, you did $427,786.25. That's impressive. We don't get to hear from you nearly enough. And I am so grateful to have you guys on with us today, because everybody that's out there listening in and watching in, they want that type of growth. They want to be able to have those types of numbers. That's life-changing stuff, man. Christopher, how long have you been here?
I have 2 dates. So I have a contract date, and then I have the date I actually started.
All right.
So it's bang on 5 years at the end of March, but I actually started June 7th. And I specifically know when I started because I got a letter from FINRA and Securities Exchange Commission allowing me to have all of the BS stuff that I had to work through at my past firm, had all of that cleared. So, yeah.
So your background, you mentioned it there, but what did all of that mean? Yeah. What were you doing?
So I was with a practice company also. And when I had my lovely twin daughters, I realized that life just had to change. I didn't birth my twin daughters. My wife did. But I realized that my life had to change, and started interviewing at other firms. And I real naively just thought I was going to go in there and resign and give them my book of business and do it all appropriately. And didn't work like that. I got the Jerry Maguire treatment, you're never going to work in this industry ever again. And I mean, stupidly, I was going to work with one of their biggest competitors and open up the closest office. And it was also going to be literally across the street. So I had about 7 months of legal stuff that I had to work through. And it was wild. It was tough. People will try to ruin your life.
Yes, they will.
Yeah. Know too. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And, so 4.5, 5 years later, you went through a period there. I mean, let's stick with that for a second. 7 months, you said, 6 or 7 months. Is that a zero income situation? Is it worse than zero income? Like there's legal fees going out, you're in a fight.
Yeah.
That type of situation. So by the time you show up here, kudos to you, because a lot of people would have just been exhausted, right?
Oh, I was exhausted. I mean, I was exhausted.
Yeah. But you also were left with, kind of the old, let's burn the bridge. Even though you weren't the one that maybe lit the fire, the bridge got burned and you had to make this work. You were on the call earlier when Pritchett was on, and he said, wouldn't it be great if everybody worked for a captive agency for a while?
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with that statement more. We do recruit so many people that have never been in the insurance business before. And, I don't think we're tooting our own horn to say this. It's just different here. And if you don't realize just how different it is here, it's hard to make you realize it, Christopher. I can't make you get the joke. I can't explain, as Danny Young would say, I can't explain to you what the Grand Canyon looks like.
Right.
And do it any justice. But I think you're a perfect example of somebody that comes in. It was not easy for you. You had to learn a lot of lessons. You had to get out of your way. You had to grow as an individual, grow as a leader, as we're all still doing every single day. But you had to buy into that process. And I don't know, is it fair to say that maybe you didn't buy into that process early on to the extent that you could have?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you got Brad or Colburn to text you before the meeting, but yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I mean, I still apologize to them fairly regularly for just how big of a pain in the butt I was. And I still still apologize to Omar for, just asking him to do things that I wasn't even willing to do. And same with Jeff Brown and Evett, who's on the call. I mean, like, some of my earliest people really just put up with me when I was probably the least appealing person in their entire life. So yeah, I'm still learning, but I definitely learned a lot back then also.
How can people not make that mistake, Christopher?
How can they not make that mistake?
Not make that mistake? Like, because I think so many people have to go through that or have had to go through that. There's a saying that I have that, your past is only there to serve you, right?
Right.
So it's hard for people a lot of times to kind of either let themselves off the hook for negative things that have happened in the past, but it's also equally as hard for people that have had a level of success in the past to kind of put that ego in the back pocket and say, I was something there. I want to become something here. What kind of advice can you give to somebody maybe that has been in that boat so that they don't have to go through that?
Yeah. I would say, first of all, if you hear something from people that are living the life that you want, you should take it as at least with a degree of truth. But I agree with you. The events of your past are fixed. You can't go back and change the past, but the meaning of the past is not fixed. And the influence of every experience that you have in your life is going to be determined by the meaning that you assign to it. And so assigning more useful meanings to your past, it becomes a lot easier to take more useful action in the present time.
Yep. Very well said, my friend. You've got some good ones on, and I don't want to take up any more of your time. Agency owner EJ Johnson. What does EJ stand for?
I would say Eric Joseph. I know it's Eric. I hope it's Eric Johnson. I've never asked. EJ, what is James? Eric James? Okay.
Eric James. Okay.
Eric Johnson. Yeah.
Nice. February 55,000, March 79,000, April just shy of 100,000, 98,438 was the exact number. Buddy, that's impressive growth as well, man. Well done. That's awesome. What do you attribute that to?
Following the leader. I mean, This is just an amazing system. And when you learn to really buy into it with no, wavering, it's amazing what's possible. So I just attribute it to you guys, honestly.
Well, I appreciate that, but you're giving me far too much credit. I attribute that to you, my friend. You come in and work hard and good things will happen, no doubt. You just mentioned Evett Schuster, $20,000 producer, also key leader recently. Is that correct?
She's been a key leader for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, she's she is probably the most tolerant person in my entire agency. I'm not as sentimental as I should be, but I would say she's probably one of my first 5 hires. And tough as nails. I mean, legitimately, like, I know Omar is technically the golden pin winner. He's technically the best agent in the entire country, but a very close second, in my opinion, is Evett Schuster.
That's awesome.
Has a 92.88% closing ratio.
Yeah. Making an AO run. Tell me this is not familiar to so many people on the call. Had to do a lot of this through COVID with 3 kids still at home. Is that right, Evett?
Yes, absolutely.
That doesn't sound easy. I was so lucky that there was still an office in Swannanoa because I had 3 kids at home and I had to get out of there and get down here as often as I could. So Well done. Want to hear more from you on that here in a second. And then who's next? We got Mike Haehl. Mike Haehl or Haehl? Haehl? Haehl. All right, buddy. Also a key leader. Just recently, right? Just now key leader?
Just today.
Just today, man. Well done. Already putting on numbers to hit in the AO, it says. What's your background, Mike? It says retail management professional.
Worked 20 plus years in retail management. Worked a lot of hours for somebody else's money.
Well, welcome to that being your past and not your future, my friend. Good to have all of you here, Christopher. I appreciate you, buddy. Your growth speaks for itself. Now I want to hear how you can pour into everybody that's on the call and see if we can't change some lives today, man. Appreciate
you. Sir. I appreciate you, brother. I'll be out there in Swanano as soon as I can. We'll get to hang out. Yep. But I will say the growth and I mean this in all sincerity. It's not false humility. It really doesn't have a lot to do with me. It has to do with so many of these other people that are out there, reading the books, right, in the business. It just, unfortunately for me, I have to carry the mantle of the one that gets the numbers reported, but it's nothing to do with me. It's all these lovely people. So we have a tradition in our agency, and I want to do this for these people because I think for everyone else, it's their first national call. I want to make them feel comfortable. We open up every call with a statement of gratitude. So I just want to share, hey, I'm so grateful to Symmetry, Brandon, Brian, and Casey. My name is Christopher Clark. I'm direct to Mike and Jennifer Colburn. In Fayetteville, Arkansas, share a physical office with Brad Smith, part of the Smith, Pritchett on up family tree. I cannot be more grateful for these people on my master agency that are on the call today. Do any of you three want to share some gratitude real quick?
Yeah, I'll jump in there. Just also very, very grateful, honored to be able to speak in a little bit today. I mean, if you guys weren't hyped up after the amazing message from Mark and Brandon and Doug, I don't know that we're going to be able to add much to it, but if your fire's already lit, hopefully we can pour a little gas on it. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to hang out with you guys and have some fun and add some value.
Yeah, Chris, I'm just grateful to be part of the Symmetry family. I was talking to Chris yesterday, and if you allow it, Symmetry allows you to be so much better of a person that you could ever dream to be. And that's what I've experienced. And it's a true blessing.
I too am very grateful and very honored to be on this call today. And without, as we referred to him, the Clark, wouldn't be here for sure. So definitely appreciate that. I'm grateful.
Brandon hands out a lot of nicknames, and I have always just secretly wanted a very cool one, like the Jet or Turbo or just something cool. And you threw that out there, and I'm very concerned that is now going to be my default nickname. So thanks, guys.
It's good to know. I'll be working on that.
Turbo. I love it. Or,
I like that.
Something. Feel free to hang out and jump in, Brandon. You don't have to go anywhere. I know BW's there in the office. I don't know what he's doing, but can't say enough about him as well. But feel free to come in. But yeah, guys, we've got a ding danger for you today, as I refer to it. I am just really excited. We're going to try a little bit of a different format, see how it works, fail forward, and just be proud of it. So we read this book, The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. As I said at the top of the call, truly, legitimately, just cannot endorse this book enough. I think what's important to understand is that Steven Pressfield wrote this for writers and then found out that entrepreneurs, any person that's just taking on a new endeavor, felt very seen by this as well. So art, just, if you're thinking, oh, I'm not an artist, put it aside. It's more about creative endeavors and growing yourself. And it's an incredible book. So starting off at the top here, I wanted to reiterate what value it is to be a part of this Symmetry culture and use the struggle that you're fighting sometimes. I mean, we name it resistance, but being part of Symmetry, and Zay said it at the top, you know, like strategy and execution. If you guys have ever read From Good to Great by Jim Collins, of course, I'm running a national call and they have to be weed eating right outside of my office window. I apologize. Okay. Strategy and culture, the execution of strategy and culture, right? Like it's disciplined people, it's disciplined thought, and it's disciplined action. And that's what we have here. And we're very blessed to do that. EJ, I think you're first up. I mean, let's just, let's name what we're dealing with here and fire away the questions you have.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we talked about it, right? Resistance. Overcoming resistance is something that everyone goes through on the way to success. And you've said a few times yourself, you know, you look like a stereotypical finance guru, button-down shirt, glasses, super smart, handsome, dreamy, you know, the list goes on. But, you know, you came from a tough background, and not a lot of people know that. And Brandon actually kind of stole a little bit of this two-part question with the whole legal fiasco that you went through. But, you know, talk a little bit about the Chris Clark that came from the streets, right? You growing up, I mean, you battled some abuse. We're just going to get right into the real tough stuff.
Yeah.
You didn't have a father figure. You know, I mean, I've been amazed to learn and get to know you better on the way. And it just continues to increase my appreciation for the man that you are. But tell Symmetry Nation a little bit about that resistance before we get into more of the business and the adulthood side of things.
Yeah. Whitaker, I believe, was the person that made this joke. And I love that man so much. You know, you really like it when you get dunked on just perfectly. And Whitaker one time said that I look like I was raised by two accountants. And I think that that's pretty accurate. But I mean, this is a real manicured look. And I mean, truly and sincerely, like, we lived across the street from a housing project. We were the minority. I did spend way more time than I would have you guys understand, like fooling around on the streets. I went back to the first address that I remember as a child, probably 2 years ago. And I was actually having a giant coaching session with Brian Williamson, and it's a full blown crack house now. Like, there are no doors, there are no windows. It was rough. I have currently my total. I feel like I'm probably going to win this race with Symmetry, but I currently have 5 ex-stepfathers and 1 current stepfather. It was tough. I mean, I was physically abused. I was emotionally, mentally, verbally abused. You know, my elbow doesn't straighten out. I've had cigarettes put out on me. It was tough. And I'm the oldest of 4. And I protected a lot of what was happening from my siblings. I didn't want them to experience that. My sister looks like Scarlett Johansson. My middle brother is, you know, gay as the day is long. It was tough. And then, you know, it's always tough having a dad that kind of dips in and out as his convenience every 4 or 5 years, and seeing your mom get hit and beat up. And so, yeah, that was early on. That was a resistance that I felt on me my entire life. In that, if you ever spend any time with anyone who grew up in that environment, there's always that voice that's going to tell you that you're not good enough for a meaningful life and for, you know, what I would just say a normal life, truly.
Yeah, and it's really easy to rationalize that and say, well, I'm not meant to be anything, right? This was the hand I was dealt, and I'm just going to roll over and play those cards. But you didn't do that. And we'll talk a little more about rationalization as we get more into this. But thanks for sharing that and being vulnerable. I mean, it's powerful stuff. So I'll turn over to the next person for the next question here.
Yeah, I think Evett's next up on the docket.
Yes, so just to build on that first question a little bit, Chris, at the age of 17, you were working, caring for your siblings, running track in school, and excelling in your academics so that you could go on to college and have numerous scholarships. So how have these struggles helped you with overcoming your resistance with the daily struggles that we face each day? in the areas of fear of failure, procrastination, and self-doubt?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, part of it, I think there's a real value in kind of backing yourself up against a wall and not having any options. I am way closer to having a neck tattoo and spending time in the penitentiary than I think a lot of people realize. I mean, like legitimately, like real close. I mean, there were some times where I've, the track scholarships worked out because I had to actually like physically outrun police, and I got just into bad stuff in my late teens. Luckily, I was fast. Ain't no cop gonna catch me, right? Like, sorry. I'll stay. I'm gonna 800. You're not gonna catch me. But truly, I mean, that resistance and beating resistance, capital R resistance, the insidious narrative that we hear in ourselves about not being good enough or you don't deserve this life. You do it a couple of times and you now have this self-image of resilience, not necessarily big belief, but you're like, I've beaten this. And it kind of sounds flippant, but one of the best things anyone's ever said to me was a waiter at a restaurant. How are you doing today? I was like, honestly, man, I'm kind of having a tough day. And he said, well, good news is that you've overcome every tough day you've had so far. You've survived everyone. It's like, I know you're just kind of blowing me off, but that's truly insightful. And my self-image, probably too heavily in my early adult years, was just built upon almost creating a mess so then I could overcome it. But I did every single time, eventually. But yeah, I would have some self-sabotage that I would also create, throwing scholarships in the trash, creating just trouble for myself because, hey, like I know how to get out of it. I thrive in dysfunction. No one can outperform a dysfunction than me. And so I would just create messes just to be better than anyone else in the messes. And that I really got in a really rough place, almost like a 12-step program. You find yourself in the gutter type of bad program where I was just like, I had lost my scholarship, lost another scholarship, got kicked out of honors college at another school that I had transferred to, and then couldn't, through an error, get student loans. And then my mom calls me and tells me like, hey, I've got cancer. It's bad. And she doesn't have anyone. And I very, very clearly remember just how beautiful of a day it was, taking the phone call. I had a Nokia back then. Shout out to Nokia. And I just felt that defining moment of this is it. Like I'm going to have to pick up the mantle. And I have a tough relationship with my mom. I've always had a tough relationship with my mom, but she's also the only parent I've really ever had. And I knew that I just couldn't let myself succumb to a life of regret and desperation, that I had to do the work meaning I had to work full time. I had to put off my engagement to my current, my now wife, back then girlfriend, and, take an incomplete with school and just work 70, 80 hours a week, ride my bike to work because my car didn't work. My car didn't. And so I had a joke about this, but it's true. I had a pink bicycle with no brakes and one gear. And I rode it to work, and I would, go wait tables at a sushi restaurant, get paid in cash, and then go back to this and that. And the work that I was meant to do really unleashed this higher level of potential in me, because I realized that I needed to be of service to people, not survival of myself. Does that help answer that?
That was amazing, Chris. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
So one more question on resistance. The book tells us to accept the fact that resistance is something you're going to have to live with, and that the best way to prevent it from paralyzing you is to face it, feel it, and take action in spite of it. So when you started your career here at Symmetry, it was not the easiest for you. You were driving over 3 hours to do production because the leads just were not available in the area. And when you started to build your agency, you had no warm market to build from. And all of this while you were dealing with some medical issues. So how were you able to manage these different areas of resistance? And how has this evolved to the level you are at now?
I honestly don't even know that I can answer how it's, to where I am now, because I'm just maybe too much of a doofus to even know where I am now. But I'm around great people, and that's a testament in and of itself. But I mean, yeah, I would say that most of us really have two lives. There's the life that we're currently living, and then there's the life that we could live. That life's duty, the the aspirational life that we don't, like, a lot of us don't even know how great that could be, because we don't necessarily know something. Like, I didn't know I was entrepreneurial, frankly, because the only entrepreneurs that I knew were drug dealers. I wanted a Range Rover because Mike had a black Range Rover in 1999. I thought that was the coolest thing, right? Like, he was my entrepreneurial mentor back then, was some drug dealer that had a black Range Rover. I still want a black Range Rover, but I want it for a different reason now. And that just, I mean, I have always had that kind of egotistical self conversation of like, yeah, but you're special, but you're different. And just a dream that I wanted to pursue, but I just didn't know how. And I've always had ideas with potential, but never knew how to execute on them, or was, almost more of a dilettante, where I just kind of like flirted with it. I'm a dilettante with like painting. Like, I flirt with painting. I'm not a professional with painting. I'm a dilettante with, with running, honestly. Like, I kind of flirt with it, but I'm not, like, I don't take it seriously enough. And I knew that I was going to lose everything if I didn't turn professional with my actual career. And I would say that's the best answer I can give you with where I am now, is I consider myself a professional with what I'm doing.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Absolutely. The other Mike, do you have anything?
Yeah, Chris, you had talked about resistance and the inner voice that you were hearing, and everybody deals with resistance. And that inner voice tells you that you're not good enough. Maybe you should wait, put it off, that nobody wants to hear from you. And resistance comes down to three things. It equals three things. It equals hesitation, procrastination, and most importantly, fear. So could you tell us a time, let's talk about maybe the beginning of your business with Symmetry, when everything around you was telling you, Chris, you got to quit, just give it up, quit. But your inner drive said, nope, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to push through. And it led to the success that you're seeing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I actually was talking with EJ yesterday, and he started cracking up when I told him this story. He's like, you got to tell this story. Evett mentioned it earlier. I had to drive 3 hours to go run leads. I had Colburn and Smith in front of me. I couldn't get leads that they hadn't. I couldn't get an A lead. I couldn't get a 5A lead that they hadn't locked down, and I couldn't compete with. Like, I had to go down to like 50-cent leads, and I honestly wasn't disciplined enough to make the dials to do that. So I had to figure it out. And the closest leads I could get were in Central Arkansas. I am not a Central Arkansan. I do not relate with those people well. They can tell I'm not from Central Arkansas. It's a very inclusive culture. Colby is from Central Arkansas, for perspective. And I would drive down to Little Rock, and it was 3+ hours. I would drive in a car without an air conditioner. I would get up at 5, help my wife with the twins, get in the car. Evett used to worry about this. I would take those little igloo coolers I would take freezer packs and drive down in cross country, like split shorts. That's it. And put ice packs on my head because that's where your body radiates heat. And I mean, it was 105 degrees outside. And then I would pull into a parking lot and change into nice clothes and then go to my meeting and then strip it off again because I was just, it was terrible. And I had a day where I scheduled 7 meetings and kept 7 meetings and sold nothing. Absolutely miserable. And I talked with my wife and I literally was just like, should I just quit? And she's so supportive. She's just, really legitimate, like the 427,000 last month. That's her, like, that's her title. I'll just tell you that right now. Like this is not me. That's the support she's shown to me. But I will say, so I went in to basically feel sorry for myself, eat Gus's fried chicken, drink a beer, couldn't even really afford it, couldn't afford a hotel room. And I had 7 meetings the next day. So I'm going to go sleep in my car in the parking garage at the university hospital. And someone broke into my car and stole my laptop. And I had like a barely functioning MacBook at that time. And I went to it's just the bottom, right? The bottom of feeling sorry for myself. And I quit. I just showed up the next morning, right? And I went to Sam's Club and I bought a $120 Chromebook. It overdrafted our checking account, but we had checking account overdraft protection up to $500, and I knew that, and went and wrote like 7,000 the next day. And I was just that right there. That was not technically the moment that I signed my agency owner contract, but that was the moment that I became an agency owner, overcoming that resistance, having the persistence, and just literally just doggedly using that as a strategy. I'm going to stick in this. I'm going to make it. I'm going to figure it out. I've survived everything else. This is not a big deal. I'm going to figure it out. And I did. So that is an example of overcoming resistance and really just using that as an identifier to use persistence as a strategy. Is that fair?
That's perfect. It's a perfect segue also into a follow-up question. Where you're at today, I've seen that you seek out resistance. So you did something last year that I find absolutely incredible. I'm still amazed that you even attempted it, let alone did it. But last year for your birthday, you sought out a huge amount of resistance. You did a running challenge last year. Can you tell everybody on the call what challenge was and how you overcame the resistance and you kept putting one foot in front of the other when a lot of times there was no visible finish line, even remotely in sight?
Yeah, there literally wasn't a visible finish line. So this was my birthday present to myself. And yeah, I seek out resistance now. And I talked to my therapist about this. She said sometimes people of trauma and abuse seek out physical pain because they can deal with that better than emotional pain. And she's probably got some legitimate thoughts there. By the way, side note, guys, everyone go see a therapist. It's the best thing that ever happened to me. No shame about mental health, getting on antidepressants, anti-anxiety medications. I will just publicly say, let's crush that stigma. I take an anti-anxiety medication. I've been talking to a therapist seriously for 2 years. It will save your life. And if you want to judge me, that's fine. But I'm better than I've ever been. So back on track. I did a real purposefully stupid thing for my birthday present for myself because I turned 37 and I'm forgetting that like I'm tough and I can do cool things. And so I took up the David Goggins running challenge, but instead of being normal about it, I doubled it up. So I ran 8 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. I love that Evette's shaking her head. No, she's still so disappointed in me. So that means that, I ran at midnight and I ran at 4 a.m. and I ran at 8 a.m. And I can tell you right now, anyone who's thinking, oh, he took a break, I would have rather run that thing the whole way through without a doubt, 100% without a doubt, than take breaks. Because when you take a break, your body stiffens up. Every single time you're challenged with the conversation of, do I really want to do this? I mean, you're making it literally as inconvenient as possible and as hard as possible. I think the only thing would have been harder is if I would have worn like a weight vest and pulled a sled. But yeah, I had a full blown like, mental nervous breakdown during the middle of it. I was lost in the woods, 2 miles from my house, just crying. I sent Joel Skeen a photo that I don't remember. I broke a toe, had a partially torn Achilles. I mean, I screwed myself up. And it was the best thing I've ever done for myself physically, truly. I mean, it really was. If you want to remind yourself that you can, it's your mind. I mean, I think the important thing to understand is like pain, suffering, resistance, all these things are part of being a human, but your choice to the weight that you give them and how you react to them, that is also human. And that's the part that you can control. And I really think everyone should do some form of, if you can't run it, ride a bike. If you can't ride a bike, I don't know, just walk around the house. But it literally every 4 hours, get up and do something that is incredibly inconvenient and physically challenging for 2 days. And I even dipped in on an agency owner call for the Smith Master Agency while I was out, just in August heat on a gravel road, listening in with my AirPods. And it was one of those moments where you get really close to what it means to be alive. I say that I was distance-wise equal about the distance I was from going to the hospital, where if I would have needed to run that extra miles, I would have needed to be in the hospital. So I was probably about 2 miles from being in the hospital. And I almost crave it now at this point.
That's
Chris,
so good.
Yeah, Chris, you did that for yourself, but I think the after effect of that, and it wasn't intended, is that you showed everybody in your agency that if you can do that, then why in the heck can't we do this?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's so good. I remember FaceTiming with you when you were doing it. And I was like, man, and we're sitting here making dials. Like, this isn't work. That man is putting in work right now. And you said something really, really critical there. And to feel is to be human, right? We feel pain, we feel happiness, we feel ups and downs. And ultimately, persistence through resistance comes down to battling those feelings, right? Battling the emotions and battling rationalization, and ultimately disconnecting from the stuff that's negative, telling you no. There's a reason person is the base word of personally. We take everything personally because we're human. We feel, everything's out to get us at times, but everything's actually on our side at times too. And so, it's important to do that when you feel like you hit that brick wall. And I think one of the amazing things that we have here in Symmetry is we have this system to follow. So it's easier to disconnect your emotions from that when you truly believe in what you're doing, when who you're following, right? You were following the Colburns and the Smiths, and even though they were taking all your leads, they were showing you the path to show us how to be here and join you on this. And thank God for Kylie saving you that day. And, we talked a little bit about turning pro, and you talked about buying that Chromebook and making it happen. And so I want to read a little blurb from this book that I thought was really incredible. And it talks about professionals versus amateurs. So, and again, remember the artist is the author talking about a person, right? So aspiring artists defeated by resistance share one trait. They all think like amateurs. They have not yet turned pro. The moment when an artist turns pro is apophetical as the birth of his first child. With one stroke, everything changes. And he means the professional as an ideal, not those of the professions like lawyers, doctors, or athletes, right? So a couple of comparisons: the amateur plays for fun, the professional plays for keeps. To the amateur, the game is his avocation. To the pro, it's his vocation. right? And you made that comment about when you made the decision. The amateur plays part-time, the professional plays full-time. The amateur is a weekend warrior, the professional is there 7 days a week. And all that's getting at is commitment, right? And we have so many people. I think the one reason people fail here is because they treat this like an amateur, you know, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I was that way for a couple of months. I distinctly remember when I became pro, it was when I went to my first corporate overview winter tour meeting. I met Edward Pritch and was like, hey man, I used to be an engineer too. I see where you are. That looks pretty great. I'm just going to follow this system, you know? But what I realized was a belief. I realized that there were a lot of people doing it. It was real. And I became pro that day. And I think when a lot of people come in here and they don't treat it like a pro, they wonder, oh, it doesn't work. It's no wonder to any of us that the people who treat this like an amateur, it doesn't work out for them. So was that the actual moment you turned pro, or was there something before that? And then how would you relate that to some of the new people right there who may be just dipping their toe in the water?
Yeah, it sounds so ridiculously easy to absurd, you know, like a reduction to absurdity for me to say, well, it's just a decision. But it is. It's just a decision. I remember very clearly having Colburn text me that I was about to hit key leader, and I had no idea what that meant because I was still an amateur. I was just literally fiddling around with it. And I just had to commit to full time. I was embarrassed that I didn't actually know. And I was embarrassed that I missed it because I didn't know what was going on. I had to realize that I just can't wait for inspiration. And I'm just got to bring it about on my own. And that the habit, which is still a habit that I struggle with. I'm a capital P pioneer. I love new things and new ideas, right? Consistency, right? Consistency is going to be continue cranking out reps. It's, you know, it's going to the gym when it's inconvenient. It's putting out the miles whenever it's inconvenient. It's doing the interviews. It's making the dials. It's scheduled the meeting. It's filling those 2 boxes. And whatever it is that you need to be cranking out, doing it day after day, and just giving it all the grit that you have and working so hard because you're a professional, and that's what professionals do. They work hard every day because they love to, they need to, and they want to. There are people who are here who don't know why they want to do this. I can tell you why I do this. And I will say that if my mother would have gotten a form and filled it out, my life would be radically different. Understand that I had just had a mother who did the most brave thing that she'd ever done in her entire life. And she went to medical school in her 40s, single mother of 4 kids, ended up giving up custody of her other 3 kids to their father so she could go to Washington University in St. Louis, which is harder to get into than Harvard, became a women's health practitioner that served underserved communities, and is in her first year of her residency, and she gets cancer. I had to drop out of school for 2 semesters to pay her bills. So every time that you're afraid to call a lead, you're putting a person like me at risk. And I take that personally. I'm sorry, but I do. I take that personally. And I'm not saying don't have the fear. I'm just saying that feeling doesn't serve you. And dedicate yourself to mastery around helping people. If you want to do something truly meaningful for society, protect families, make a good income, enjoy the people that you work with. I don't know of another place where I can say without exception that I like the people that I work with. Not that I just put up with the people, but I genuinely like and love the people that I put up with. And I will say the resistance that you face is proportional to the love that you feel. And I love you guys and I love this business and I love what I do. And it has lowered my resistance because of that. And I got a coach. I took it seriously. I just did the same thing every day and I didn't personalize it. But the most important thing that I did was I sat down and worked. And this is the national call, so I will try to make this quote PG. All of my agents are laughing because I was raised on the streets. I have a little bit of a mouth. I work on it. Harvard did say that the more potty language that someone uses, the more likely they are to test high on IQ tests, by the way. So I give myself that grace. But, they said, put your ass where your heart wants to be. And so that means you sit down and you make dials. That means you're in meetings with agents. That means you're helping people out. And I'm sorry for the bluntness of that statement, but it's just some people need to hear it. And I needed to hear it. And I needed to hear it from myself. And I needed to hear it, from Omar and from Colburn and from Brad. One time Omar just asked me like, hey, why aren't you doing this? You're asking me to do it. And it was because I was rationalizing, well, I'm doing something else. You don't see what I'm doing. And really what I was doing was I was undercutting myself and my image with him. Does that help, EJ?
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, we could chat here for hours because there's so much in that book and there's so much that applies to all of our lives and our journeys, but it comes down to that belief, that why, right? It starts with why. And my belief's not yours, but it's mine. And if you guys don't have one and you're new on this call, find that belief. And if you can't find it, borrow it, because man, everything I have seen in the 2.5 years that I've been here is everybody from the founding ownership team of Symmetry all the way on down to the brand new agent who owns his own individual salesperson agency. This company is the best opportunity in the finance industry. The systems, the technology, the people, like everything we heard from Mark and Brandon and Doug, just continue to expand my belief and my excitement. And so thanks for pouring into us. I sincerely thank you and Kylie and all those trials and tribulations from the bottom of my heart, because we're all reaping the benefits of it. And because you weren't selfish and shared it, you forever changed my lives and so many people on this call and in your agency. I love you, brother. And yeah, man, take us home here.
Absolutely. I saw someone comment on Harvard's acceptance rate. Washington University Medical School. This person's getting all uptight about it. Harvard's great. Yale's great, Edward. But no, I think, I know we're up against the clock, but I want to let you guys know that, first of all, the book is The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. Just buy it. Like, it's not even a suggestion, just buy it and then read it on top of that. But I think the final thing that I'll give to you guys out of my stupid experience that was hard earned is there's a real magic in making a start. So this is a direct quote from the book, but it's concerning all acts of initiative and creation. You're creating a business. There is one elementary truth and ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would not otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from that decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen events, incidents in meeting and material assistance, which no man would have dreamed would come his way. But whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it, because boldness has genius, magic, and power in it. Begin it now. With that, it's been an honor. It has been a pleasure. Again, my name is Christopher Clark. You guys can reach out to me, 479-799-5250. Text me. Just you guys know that I truly, deeply love all of you and have so much gratitude and appreciation for all of you. Let's make today, let's make this week, let's make this month, let's make this year the best year ever, because you guys deserve to be proud of yourselves. Thank you all. Bye.
Fine, Christopher. Thank you, brother. Really good, man.